today's class is on the rest of the topics of corticosteroid. In the last class, we discussed on the biosynthesis of corticosteroids, in classification of corticosteroids, and we took up the individual corticosteroids. Now, name some corticosteroid. Anyone? Name few corticosteroids. Hydrocortisone. Is it a glucocorticoid or a mineralocorticoid? It is a glucocorticoid, having mineralocorticoid activity also. Can we name some glucocorticoid having no mineralocorticoid activity? Name some glucocorticoid, yes. Name some glucocorticoid having no mineralocorticoid activity. Dexamethasone, betamethasone, আর কিছু? Deflazacort, triamcinolone. Acha. Now coming to the topical corticosteroids. Apart from the systemic corticosteroids, we use corticosteroids even by topical therapy. Name some corticosteroid used by inhalation therapy. Name some corticosteroid used by inhalation therapy. Budesonide. আর কিছু? এগুলো কিন্তু পরীক্ষাতে আসবে, ভাইভাতে জিজ্ঞাসা করবে যেগুলো বলছি। Budesonide, beclomethasone, mometasone. Now, so corticosteroids can be used topically via inhalation route, via nasal spray or nasal drop. Example, fluticasone, mometasone. They are used in nasal allergies. It can be used even as skin ointment or for application in the mucous membrane. Now, coming to the uses of corticosteroid, we can divide the uses of corticosteroid in two groups. One is for endocrinal cause, meant for replacement therapy, and another is for pharmacotherapy, non-endocrinal cause. In the endocrinal cause or replacement therapy, it includes acute adrenal crisis, chronic adrenal insufficiency, also known as Addison's disease, and adrenogenital syndrome. In the pharmacotherapy, non-endocrinal cause, there are a variety of basically cause or indications. Arthritis, collagen disease, severe allergic reactions, autoimmune disease, bronchial asthma and other lung disease, infective cause, eye disease, skin disease, intestinal disease, cerebral edema, malignancies, organ transplantation and skin allograft, septic shock, thyroid storm, and to test the pituitary adrenal axis function. Coming to the acute adrenal insufficiency. Now, it is an emergency condition seen in patient of any stressful condition like in infection or trauma. So, in that case, hydrocortisone or dexamethasone is administered intravenously along with isotonic saline and glucose infusion. Also, the cause of adrenal insufficiency should be treated. Now, coming to chronic adrenal insufficiency, also known as Addison disease. In this condition, there is deficiency of both glucocorticoid and mineralocorticoid, and the drug preferred is hydrocortisone given by the oral route. If the patient, in spite of the use of hydrocortisone, continue to excrete sodium in urine, in that case, mineralocorticoid fludrocortisone can be added up. Now, coming to congenital adrenal hyperplasia, basically it's a genetic condition. In this, there is congenital deficiency of the enzymes, steroidogenic enzymes, mostly 21 hydroxylase. Now, this enzyme is responsible for the synthesis of glucocorticoid as well as mineralocorticoid in the body. So, in the absence of this disease, the synthesis of glucocorticoid and mineralocorticoid suffers, but there is continued synthesis of androgens. As a result, the manifestations are basically virilization and or precocious sexual development. And in severe deficiency, due to the absence of mineralocorticoid, there is salt wasting. Treatment is hydrocortisone given continuously round the clock to maintain feedback suppression of pituitary. And in severe salt wasting, fludrocortisone can be added up. Now coming to the pharmacotherapy. Now in non-endocrinal cause, glucocorticoid is mostly used because of its potent anti-inflammatory action and immunosuppressive action. Now the problem is this drug is used in these conditions as in many times as a life-saving measure, but injudicious use of corticosteroid can be harmful even. So a single dose of corticosteroid even in large dose is not harmful and can be given to tide over the mortal crisis. Short courses of oral corticosteroid is also not harmful and can be given in the absence of contraindications. But when these corticosteroids are given for a longer duration, then basically long-term use can be hazardous depending on the duration of the treatment and dose of the drug. So in these conditions where the drug has to be given for longer duration, the dose of the drug is to be kept minimum, and for the shortest period of time required it should be given. Initial dose depend on the severity of disease. If the illness is very severe enough, we start with a higher dose and gradually taper down the dose as per the response. If the illness is not severe, we start with lower possible dose and gradually build up the dose as per the response. Now, when the corticosteroid are given for more than 2 to 3 weeks, then the problem is that there is SPA axis depression. Now, in these conditions, when the drug is abruptly withdrawn, there is acute adrenal crisis leading to cardiovascular collapse. So, in this condition, when the drug has been continued for more than 2 to 3 weeks, we should gradually withdraw the drug. Infection, severe trauma, surgery or any stress during corticosteroid therapy, we should not stop the drug immediately, and even may have to increase the dose to cope up with the stress of the condition. Wherever possible, local therapy should be used, not a systemic therapy. Now, coming to the first non-endocrinal cause, arthritis. Like in rheumatoid arthritis, the systemic corticosteroid should be used in severe cases as an adjuvant therapy to NSAID, or it can be used to depress or control the exacerbation or when there is systemic symptoms. In osteoarthritis, systemic therapy of corticosteroids are generally not indicated, and we use intra-articular glucocorticoid in severe case to basically decrease the inflammation in the joint, but it has to be given 2 to 3 times a year, and long-term use can destruct the joint. Coming to rheumatic fever, in rheumatic fever in patient with congestive heart failure, carditis, the drug can be used to decrease the symptom with aspirin, or where aspirin is contraindicated. Gout, in gout, what are the treatment for acute gout? Treatment for acute gout, colchicine is more effective than NSAID, but because of its side effect profile, NSAID is preferred in acute gout. And when NSAID is contraindicated and colchicine is not tolerable, we use corticosteroid in acute gout. Corticosteroid should only be used in acute gouty arthritis when NSAID failed to afford relief and colchicine is not tolerated. Intra-articular glucocorticoid injection can be given, and though the glucocorticoid are uricosuric, they are not indicated in chronic gout. Chronic gout treatment ki ache? Chronic gout, allopurinol. It's a uricosuric or ki kore function ta ki? Uric acid synthesis inhibitor or uricos. Acha, my uric acid synthesis কমিয়ে দিচ্ছে. আচ্ছা, আর uricosuric কি আছে? Uricosuric drug? Probenecid commonly used. Febuxostat. Now coming to collagen vascular disease. In patients of SLE, polyarteritis nodosa, in patients of glomerulonephritis nephrotic syndrome, these corticosteroids can be life-saving, given in higher dose, and when the symptoms subside, gradually the dose is tapered off and minimal maintenance dose can be needed. Severe allergic reaction in patients of anaphylaxis, in patients of angioneurotic edema, in serum sickness like syndrome, these and in urticaria, corticosteroids can be helpful. In patients of anaphylaxis and angioneurotic edema, corticosteroid take some time, 1 to 2 hours. So, it should not replace adrenaline. Drug of choice in anaphylactic shock. Drug of choice in anaphylactic shock. Adrenaline. Why not noradrenaline? Why not? It's a খুব common question. পড়তে হবে এটা. Topical use in allergic conjunctivitis and rhinitis. Autoimmune disease like idiopathic thrombocytopenic purpura (ITP), autoimmune hemolytic anemia, and in active chronic hepatitis, prednisolone is preferred 1 to 2 mg per kg per day till remission, followed by gradual withdrawal and maintenance therapy in lowest possible dose. Remission may also be induced in severe cases of myasthenic crisis, in adjuvant to the neostigmine or pyridostigmine. Patients requiring long-term maintenance therapy are better shifted to other immunosuppressant. Bronchial asthma. In bronchial asthma, drug of choice. Drug of choice in bronchial asthma patient. Inhalational corticosteroid. And drug of choice in COPD patient. Drug of choice in COPD. It basically anti-muscarinic agent, anticholinergic the drug of choice. So এটা জানতে হবে কেন corticosteroid is the drug of choice in bronchial asthma and why anticholinergics are the drug of choice in COPD. এটাও question রয়েছে. Now, early institution of inhaled glucocorticoid therapy is now recommended in most cases of bronchial asthma needing inhaled beta-2 agonist daily. Now, systemic corticosteroids are indicated in severe status asthmaticus. It's an emergency condition where intravenous glucocorticoid is used and withdrawn when the emergency condition stops. Now, in case of acute asthma exacerbation, short course of high dose oral corticosteroid is given and then the gradually dose is tapered off. And in case of severe chronic asthma where the condition is not controlled even with oral glucocorticoid, inhalational glucocorticoid and with bronchodilators, then we can add low dose maintenance steroid therapy. Other lung disease, they can be of helpful in aspiration pneumonia and in case of drowning leading to pulmonary edema. In late pregnancy, in preterm delivery, basically corticosteroids are used for fetal lung maturation. Now, what are the corticosteroids used in fetal lung maturation? Corticosteroid used in fetal lung maturation, there are two drugs are used, dexamethasone and betamethasone. Coming to infective disease, generally in infective disease, corticosteroid should be used cautiously because they can flare up the infection. But in certain severe infective disease, corticosteroid has to be used under effective antibiotic or antimicrobial coverage. They are indicated in conditions like severe tuberculosis, meningeal tuberculosis, miliary tuberculosis, and in renal tuberculosis. They are indicated in severe lepra reactions, indicated in certain bacterial meningitis and pneumocystis carinii pneumonia in AIDS patient having hypoxia. Eye disease, it can be used, it is used topically in anterior eye disease like iritis, iridocyclitis, keratitis. They are contraindicated in herpes simplex keratitis and in ocular injuries. And in posterior segment eye disease like retinitis, optic neuritis, uveitis, systemic corticosteroids are used, and in some cases retrobulbar injection can be helpful. Coming to skin disease, it can be used in various eczematous skin disease as via topical route, and in systemic therapy it can be helpful in pemphigus vulgaris, Stevens-Johnson syndrome, exfoliative dermatitis and others. Coming to intestinal disease, it can be helpful in inflammatory bowel disease like Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, and it can be helpful in even celiac disease, where corticosteroids are used systemically or as a retention enema when the disease is localized in the colonic tissue. They are particularly helpful in patients with systemic manifestation and are given in addition to sulfasalazine, mesalazine and other measures. Some patients require maintenance low-dose therapy. Cerebral edema, corticosteroids are preferred to control cerebral edema due to brain neoplasia and due to tubercular meningitis. Dexamethasone and betamethasone are preferred because of no mineralocorticoid activity and they can cross the blood-brain barrier. Their value in traumatic cerebral edema and in patients of cerebral edema due to stroke are questionable, not used. Large dose given intravenously in spinal injury can reduce the neurological sequelae. And in patients of Bell's palsy, it can be used, oral corticosteroids are used for around 1 to 2 weeks. And it can also be used in multiple sclerosis to control the acute exacerbation. Malignancies, they are very much effective, basically a component of the combined chemotherapy in the acute lymphoblastic leukemia, in Hodgkin's lymphoma and other lymphoma. Why? Because of their lympholytic action. They are also helpful, used as a secondary treatment in hormone responsive breast carcinoma. Why? When we use corticosteroid there, due to SPA axis suppression, androgens are synthesis decreases. As a result, less estrogen is produced, and so they are helpful in hormone responsive breast carcinoma. They also give symptomatic relief in advanced carcinoma by improving the appetite and by taking care of hypercalcemia due to malignancy. And the drug of choice in hypercalcemia due to malignancy are bisphosphonates. Now coming to organ transplantation and skin allograft, high dose corticosteroids are used along with other immunosuppressive agents to take care of acute rejection reactions. Now low dose maintenance therapy are generally continued over long term along with maintenance dose of other immunosuppressives. In septic shock, high dose of corticosteroids are not helpful and even harmful and does not improve the outcome but worsen the outcome. But it has been seen that in certain cases, patients of septic shock have got additional acute adrenal crisis, and if these patients of septic shock having acute adrenal insufficiency and not being controlled by intravenous fluid therapy, vasopressor support, in those cases lowered basically hydrocortisone can be helpful, given in the dose of 100 mg 8 hourly for 5 to 7 days. Thyroid storm, patients of thyroid storm have been seen to possess some acute adrenal crisis, so their corticosteroids are helpful, and again corticosteroid, they reduce the peripheral conversion of T4 to T3. Corticosteroids can also be used to test the pituitary adrenal axis function. Coming to the adverse effects are basically due to the pharmacological extension of the corticosteroid actions. They can be divided into two broad groups, mineralocorticoid and glucocorticoid. Adverse effect due to mineralocorticoid activity, adverse effect due to glucocorticoid activity. What can be the adverse effect of corticosteroid due to mineralocorticoid activity? Mineralocorticoid action ta ki ache? They cause sodium and water retention. Basically, adverse effect due to mineralocorticoid activity, excess mineralocorticoid activity. It leads to fluid and water, fluid and electrolyte retention, leading to edema, leading to rise in blood pressure, and leading rise in blood pressure and edema, and hypokalemic alkalosis. Now, these are rare now because of the use of highly selective glucocorticoid agents. Now, coming to adverse effects due to glucocorticoid activity. Number one, Cushing's habitus. Cushing's habitus e ki pabo? A person on long term glucocorticoid, what will be the body habitus look like? কি হবে? কি পাবো দেখতে আমরা? একটা পেশেন্ট লং টার্ম গ্লুকোকর্টিকয়েড থেরাপিতে আছে, কি সরি, there will be moon phases. Actually, there occurs fat redistribution. More of the fat accumulate in the trunks and less fat, and there is lipolytic action in the extremity. So there will be moon phases. A small mouth called fish mouth. There will be buffalo hump, a hump at the supraclavicular region, and there will be thin extremities. So these are about the Cushing's habitus. There will be fragile skin and purple stria because of thinning of the skin, typically on the thighs and lower abdomen. There is easy bruising, telangiectasia, hirsutism can be seen. Hyperglycemia, it may progress to diabetes and glycosuria. Muscular weakness, particularly proximal muscle weakness involving the shoulder and the arm, pelvis and the thigh. Susceptibility to infection. Actually, glucocorticoid therapy basically causes the patient to be susceptible to the infections, and latent tuberculosis can flare up, and there is a chance of opportunistic infections. Delayed healing of wounds and surgical incision, peptic ulceration. There is a chance of asymptomatic peptic perforation event. Osteoporosis. Osteoporosis generally involve vertebra and the flat spongy bones. There can be basically a traumatic or pathological fracture of the long bones or the compression fracture of the vertebra. This occurs because of negative calcium balance, and it can be prevented or arrested by the use of calcium and vitamin D3 supplementation, by the hormone replacement therapy, or use of raloxifene. Now, bisphosphonates are the most the drug of choice in patients on long term glucocorticoid. Posterior subcapsular cataract, particularly seen in children with long term use of glucocorticoid in years. Glaucoma can be seen in susceptible individuals on topical therapy. Growth retardation in children can be seen with long term use of glucocorticoid, and basically it can be prevented by recombinant growth hormone concurrently used with corticosteroid. Fetal abnormalities, generally it does not increase the risk of abortion or stillbirth, but it causes intrauterine growth retardation, and basically there is also neurological and behavioral disturbance in the offspring. If a corticosteroid has to be used in a patient of pregnant mother, then prednisolone is preferred for the shortest duration. Why? Because this prednisolone is metabolized by the placental enzyme, so there is lesser fetal exposure. Now, corticosteroid can even cause gestational diabetes, pregnancy-induced hypertension, and preeclampsia. Psychiatric disturbance, basically the drug can cause euphoria, and when it's continued, it can lead to nervousness, decreased sleep, mood changes. Suppression of hypothalamo-pituitary adrenal axis. Actually, long-term use of the glucocorticoid leads to SPA axis depression. What happens? Because of SPA axis suppression, the adrenal gland, basically there is increased synthesis of the, there is adrenal gland atrophy, and when the drug is withdrawn, glucocorticoid is withdrawn suddenly, acute adrenal crisis results, and the person may go into the cardiovascular collapse. So the drug should be slowly withdrawn in patients on long-term glucocorticoid therapy. Precaution: when the patient is on hydrocortisone therapy, more than 20 milligram per day, or the patient is on prednisolone more than 5 milligram per day or equivalent dose of other corticosteroid and is given for more than 2 to 3 weeks, that can result into SPA axis suppression. Now, such patient on long-term glucocorticoid therapy, if operation has to be taken up, intraoperative and perioperative hydrocortisone intravenously has to be given to cope up with the stress. If a patient is on steroid therapy, develops an infection, the steroid should not be withdrawn, but rather the dose may have to be increased to cope up with the stress of the infection. Now, measures to minimize SPA axis suppression caused by glucocorticoids. Number one, the drug should be used at lowest possible dose for the shortest possible duration, and the drugs chosen should be shorter acting drug like prednisolone, and it should be given once a day in the morning. It can be preferably alternate day dosing is preferred, and local or topical corticosteroid is preferred over systemic corticosteroid wherever possible. Now, contraindications are peptic ulceration, diabetes mellitus, hypertension, viral and fungal infection, tuberculosis, osteoporosis, herpes simplex keratitis, psychosis, epilepsy, congestive heart failure, renal failure. These are all relative indication, and if the need arises, glucocorticoid can be used with due caution. Metirapone is basically inhibit 11 beta hydroxylase, which are responsible for corticosteroid biosynthesis. As a result, hydrocortisol level in the blood falls. There is increased ACTH release, leading to the increased excretion of 11-deoxycortisol in urine. They are responsible to, basically they are used to see responsiveness of pituitary gland. Aminoglutathione, trilostane, and high dose of ketoconazole. They basically inhibit steroidogenic enzymes. They are used in Cushing syndromes where the disease is non-operable and other drugs are not effective. Glucocorticoid antagonist, mifepristone. They have got glucocorticoid basically receptor antagonist action. They are used for inoperable cases of adrenal carcinoma and in patients with ectopic ACTH production. Now, coming to some MCQs. The anti-inflammatory effect of glucocorticoids are primarily mediated by the inhibition of which enzyme? Glucocorticoid anti-inflammatory action কোন এনজাইম দিয়ে হয় ইনহিবিশন? সরি, জোরে বলো। It's phospholipase A2. Which of the following is a long-acting glucocorticoid with potent anti-inflammatory effect and minimal mineralocorticoid activity? Hydrocortisone কি আছে? It's a short-acting glucocorticoid, endogenously produced. What about prednisone? It's an intermediate-acting glucocorticoid. Half-life between 12 to 36 hours. Dexamethasone and betamethasone, these are the two long-acting glucocorticoid having no mineralocorticoid activity. Fludrocortisone is a mineralocorticoid. Now, Addison's disease results from the deficiency of glucocorticoid only, mineralocorticoid only, both catecholamines. কোনটা হবে? Addison's disease, both glucocorticoid and mineralocorticoid. Which of the following is a major side effect of long-term use of high-dose corticosteroid therapy? কি হবে বলো? কি হতে পারে? হ্যাঁ, অস্টিওপোরোসিস। কি হতে পারে? দেখো, Hypoglycemia hobe na because it leads to hyperglycemia and can make the patient prone to diabetes. Osteoporosis is one of the major side effects of long-term glucocorticoid therapy. Hypotension hobe na, it leads to hypertension, both because of mineralocorticoid activity and glucocorticoid activity. Weight loss hobe na, it leads to weight gain. Fludrocortisone is a synthetic corticosteroid primarily used for its potent ki hobe. Fludrocortisone mineralocorticoid activity. Mineralocorticoid ki ache naam gulo bolo. Mineralocorticoid ki ache ha sorry ha আর desoxycorticosterol acetate এটা একটা আছে fludrocortisone আছে. The mechanism of action of corticosteroids involves binding to কোথায় bind করে cell surface receptor, intracellular receptor, ion channels, GPCR, G protein GPCR no কি হবে intracellular receptor. In the context of fetal development, corticosteroids are administered to pregnant women at risk of preterm labor to promote fetal lung maturation. Fetus is generally 34 weeks পর lung development হয়. Now in case of preterm delivery before 34 weeks, when the lung is not matured, the baby basically mother is injected with either dexamethasone or betamethasone to promote the lung development, so that when the delivery occurs, the baby can survive. The stress hormone cortisol exhibits a diurnal rhythm with peak level occurring during cortisoler peak level কখন থাকে early morning, right? That is why when we give maintenance therapy in Addison disease, we give higher dose in the morning and lower dose in the evening. Abrupt cessation of long-term glucocorticoid therapy can lead to adrenal crisis, particularly when a glucocorticoid is used more than 20 milligram hydrocortisone per day or more than 5 milligram prednisolone per day for more than 2 to 3 weeks. Spironolactone acts as an antagonist to which receptor?